Previously you've seen us give the wall a pat down with some insulation, and then we stuck a stainless wall panel on top of it, and then we took the panel off, but then we realised it had to go back on. I decided, stuff it, I can't live in this mess, this squalor. I'm going to be doing some industrial house cleaning. It took two of us to tip this plinth over. Ian brought a nail gun to a cabinet fight, and Jess decided to give the trawler a high five with her head.
It is true.
Project Brupeg, the story of a couple who took a crazy idea and turned it into reality with the help of an amazing community around the world. You can get on board and come with us to some of the most remote places on the planet. Got a lot of stuff to cover this week, so our format's going to be a little fast paced. First cab off the rank is cupboards. We need to get these down so that we can figure out where this bench is going to go. It took a little bit of jostling around with the saw to make everything fit, but we got there in the end. We were using the cabinets as our source of truth so that we can figure out where to mount this plinth. We had to make a bunch of blocks that are going to become fasteners to the ground. We laid them onto the deck, and then we had to figure out, okay, how do we make these things glue to the ground properly and never come off? We'll pack the plinth so that it's absolutely bang on and then fasten down to these. So these will be basically anchors onto the ground. Rather than relying on glue only, we're making some steel brackets to weld either side of the blocks and screw the blocks into. Ian was making the second plinth while I was getting the blocks ready to weld in. In order for Ian to build the third plinth, we needed to get the wall insulation and wall panels on so we knew which line he was building to.
You can see here Dame is practicing for his river dance audition.
Putting lovely 2-pack on top of plywood face up like this in an open workyard is the equivalent of doing a rain dance in modern day times. In this case the rain didn't happen, thankfully. I realised that I top coated the wrong side of one panel, so we're going to paint that afterwards. With this wall panel on, we know exactly what shape we need to start building the plinths to. The same process with this small panel, only this time we need to fit quite a few electrical, water and gas fittings, so this is what we're drilling out here. Most of the plugs we're using on the boat are going to be 240 volt double plugs. The way that we protect all of the plywood panels on Brupeg is a couple of coats of epoxy on either side and then a couple of coats of polyurethane top coat on the outside face. Yasmin found out about Brupeg through her dad, who watches the channel. While Yasmin and me were working away on the insulation, clearly there was a union meeting going on in the back with Supervisor 1 and Supervisor 2 chit-chatting, overseeing proceedings. We needed to create some clearance for some pipes, so rather than just cut the polystyrene and have a gap with no insulation, we thought we'll use a flap wheel on a drill, clear out a little channel for it. Seemed to work pretty well. So that we can get Brupeg into the water faster, we're getting some jobs done by others that allows me to stay focused on the galley. This is our old 5-inch exhaust being replaced by a nice shiny stainless exhaust by John and Russell from an exhaust shop in town. We've been collecting the parts for this for quite a while so that we can buy them at the lowest cost possible, and now we're ready to go. We're getting the exhaust done so that we can carry on with the rest of the boat build. This section of the exhaust that runs along the roof that you're about to see go up, that's where we're doing our heat recovery and taking the hot air from the exhaust and using it to warm a liquid that we can pump around the boat to heat the boat when we go down into the polar regions. We'll make an episode on the exhaust and show you all of the details it took to get this thing finalised. For quite a while, this box of mystery has been sitting on the deck, and we had a heap of rain over the last night or two. So I need to undo this box because it's falling apart. But it absolutely is not quite a few different things. Let me show you what it is.
Sitting here on my own, I think of you, you're on my mind, you know. To me that's alright.
This is something that we bought a while ago, but it's been sitting there. I've been longing to use it. It is the most beautiful toolbox that I have ever owned in my life. This thing is magical. Locking lid, gas struts. It's quite heavy, it's about 80 kgs this thing. And then in the corners you can sort of see one over there and one here. These are rubber grommets that allow cables and plugs to go through. More spare keys. Next up, a romantic trip to our favourite scrapyard. One of the challenges of getting through the interior is carting long bits of timber, and I've only got one of these ladder bars. However, went to the scrappy, found this and this, and they pretty much line up absolutely perfect with the truck. So I need to mount those so that we can start carting more stuff for the inside of the boat. Step one, we've got to get rid of the old one, and this thing's been on there a while, and I don't think these screws are going to want to move. When a screwdriver on its own won't do it, we introduce more tools into the mix. There comes a point in every man's life where the screwdriver just isn't enough and you move on to the plasma cutter. Okay, so these are slightly taller than my truck. These are designed for a big boy's truck. The following scene does not contain any engineering or welding. If this scares you even slightly, we suggest you look up monster trucks or potentially rockets.
I've had an accident and I've got a significant brain injury, and I know I'm smiling. That's because Damien keeps me laughing. Yeah. And we were tossing up, do we, share this sort of thing that can happen to me or not? But we thought, well, yeah, because, it's all part of it, isn't it? If anyone out there who's got a medically curious mind, and I know who some of you are, big clamp was above me. I must have hit it with my head or my shoulder, and it flipped over, and by the time my head was down it landed straight on this part of my head. So the doctor's calling it a compression injury, significant brain injury. So I'm in bed for 4 weeks, so I'm not allowed to do anything. So nothing that challenges my mind or anything like that. So, and I want everything to heal as well as possible. So no stress. So even this conversation is making my blood pressure go up, my blood pressure's going up. So I'm not allowed to get excited either. So no really good jokes, please, on the comment section, because every time Dane cracks a joke, and he's been doing it terribly at the moment, my blood pressure goes up, the bastard. And I'm kind of guiding things from my bed, which is really quite relaxing. So we'll keep you updated. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Much worse has happened before.